Hey everyone, this is Andy from Tennis with Andy. So today I'm going to talk to you about the 2022 Australian Open men's draw. So without further ado, the burning question is what would happen if Novak has to withdraw? So if Novak withdraws before the schedule is released, then what would happen is the number 5 seed, who's Rublev, would take his position at number 1. And then the number 17 seed, Monfils, will take Rublev's position at 5. Bublik, the number 35 seed, would replace Monfils' position at 17. And then I'm not sure who's going to take over for Bublik. Maybe it's a wild card or a lucky loser. But that being said, if Novak withdraws after the schedule is made, then a lucky loser would take his spot. So as it stands, Novak is still the odds-on favorite if he were to play. I think it might be a bit of pressure for him, given all that's happening, for him to win this. So I want to talk primarily about the other players. Two players who I feel like are just, I wouldn't say sleepers, but I think who are pretty much heavy favorites are Zverev and Medvedev. And I think Zverev, he's probably really hungry right now to win one, given that two of his age mates, Medvedev and Thiem, have both recently won majors. So I think Zverev is there. Thiem, I think, is a couple of years older than Zverev, but I sort of lumped them into the same generation. Now, Nadal is a big question mark. I think for Nadal, if he could get through, I think his schedule actually worked out well for him, that he has a very tough schedule playing the American Giron in the first round, and he has some other tough matches leading up to Zverev in the quarters. But I think for Nadal, it's good to get that match fitness, and if he's able to get through the first week, then look out. I think he has a solid chance to win. A couple of people who are really on my radar. Number 1, Monfils. I think he's really matured as a player, and I think that he definitely has the skill set. He's always had the skill set. One of the most talented players out there. But I think he's really focused, and I think this sort of I feel like there's a gap right now, and I think Monfils could definitely move ahead and do well in this tournament, especially if he gets the number if he gets Rublev's spot at number 5. He'd be facing Medvedev in the quarters, and I think inform if Monfils could and should be able to beat Medvedev. Karatzab is one where we haven't really talked about, and I think the common belief is that after that stellar run at the Australian and a couple other tourneys, people think that he kind of tapered off towards the year. But in my mind, he played like a solid top 25 player, and he's a very solid player, very strong, and I think that these conditions, for whatever reason, they suit him very well. So he's already won a tournament this year against Murray, 6-3, 6-3. And I think I look for him to go make another deep run at the Aussie Open. So Karatzab Murray, I have a soft spot for Murray in terms of his fight is just something that's admirable after the hip injuries. And another thing I admire about Murray is his efforts towards equality for women in tennis and just in life. That's something that's very admirable, and something that I feel like he's on court. He has that fire, but off court he seems like a sweet guy, good gentleman. So I'm hoping Murray can do it. I don't know if he can, but he's one of my personal picks to win. And FAA, I think the ATP Cup really was a good starting point for FAA. he is, I think he's like 0-7 or 0-8 in finals. And even though the ATP Cup, it doesn't really count as a singles final, but he did play the last match, and he played the winning match to win it for Canada. And he's supremely talented. His strokes, his stroke production is just so clean, and I think once it clicks for him, once he gets that last bit, then the titles are gonna start coming in, and you're gonna see him making more deep runs into semis, finals, and in my mind, I think he's gonna win some majors as well. So other people, Tsitsipas, not too sure what's going on. Given his injury, and he changed strings. I think he changed strings from 4G to another string combo. I'm not sure how he's going to do, so we'll wait and see. Rublev, I think if Rublev gets bumped up to the number 1 spot, I think he has a much better chance of making a deeper run. But if he stays in his current spot, then he'd be facing Medvedev in the quarters. And based on history, I'd definitely pick Medvedev. Casper Ruud, always he's improved so much last year, so look forward to seeing what he can do this year, if he can back up his great performance of last year. So I know I'm forgetting people. Tiafoe, obviously, Tiafoe is supremely talented. Loves his very crowd favorite, so I love to see him rile up the crowd and really get the crowd behind him. And then you have your Aussies. Who knows if Kyrgios is going to play, but it'll be good for him if hopefully he's healthy and he can play. Then one of my favorites, De Minaur. The guy has fight, and that's something where in this generation, De Minaur, Millman, those guys really know how to. Alex Bolt as well. Those guys really push themselves and really exemplify what I think is like typical Aussie tennis. So like the Leighton Hewitt era tennis. So yeah, so that's my pick. And as a good politician, I didn't really give an answer who I think is going to win. I gave like 5 or 6 different answers. But I'm rooting for, in my heart, I'm rooting for Murray or Monfils to win. Practically speaking, I think you'd have to put Medvedev as a favorite. Medvedev and Zverev as a favorite with Nadal closely behind. So those are my picks, and I will try and do the women's draw, which is going to be quite challenging to pick a favorite because there's so many talented, the field is so deep, and there's so many talented people who I feel could win. So, all right, this is Andy from Tennis with Andy. Hope you enjoy the Open.